Oh, let's do this spell.
Woo! Alright.
Trial letter.
February 24th.
All my people.
God will not reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Oh shit.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. Officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Oh Jesus.
Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner. I'm just a wandering man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross the intersections. Yes, we get it. Fucking cross.
Oh, I know. You're a patrolman.
Hold the fuck up. Yes. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear it howling through the wind, calling it out. To be exact, your name is Jake Marshall, Your Honor.
Howling wind? I've never heard it. I've never heard it.
Did you hear that?
What?
The music, it's doing that. It's doing the Clint Eastwood reference. Anyway, now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on that day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner.
What do you mean?
A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up.
Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Yes, kind of meta. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime in plain
That's what we
old
said.
English.
Yes. My job was to keep a wary eye on them bone archered. They said it was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street-side saloon taking time. I'm just as innocent traveling man. So if you're out of ammo, it's my time to hit the trail.
Well, that wasn't old English at all. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude.
I can't say I particularly care about your beer, but you don't see me complain.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I mean the security cameras and the ID reader. I reckon every time a cowpoke like you knows about those, you're gonna cowpoke like you.
What about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those?
He's not being very helpful.
He's not good with machines, or following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor?
This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Okay. Okay. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the
They took an arrow to
past,
me.
correct?
They took an arrow to me.
Yeah, correct. He took an arrow to them. Back in my day, the locker was a gold mine of evidence. My locker was a gold mine.
And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism?
Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike worked.
That's quite incredible.
The sensors on the... I forgot I was Edgeworth. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence.
Now that he mentioned it, Detective
yeah.
Gumshoe said something like that too.
Most of the people don't even know about the things.
At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place?
If I remember right, I was in the Saisu Saloon, but
What were you doing in a place like that?
I was eating spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Not even Angel steak lunches can beat the parlors. Well, I gotta say this really badly. Vongoli Sipa pasta.
You mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles?
Not some noodles, partner. fuck it. Not all desperados eat tacos, partner.
That's right. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange.
Not really.
This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want to race this year?" Okay, I have a trump card in my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Yes.
That's funny.
Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Wow, that was short.
That's
Yeah,
how you
because,
spell ante.
because Emma's not here. Okay, wait.
It's dead.
Let's press this.
I mean, she fell out. She got hit by a bus. She's not-
She can't hear it. Oh no! Out of ammo, Officer Marshall?
Got her up on time.
She's wearing her glasses.
Yeah,
no!
that's right, partner. Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me on this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting up to carry me back into the way, no matter what the said.
One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything.
Texans don't take orders from anyone, even though I'm not from Texas.
Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have it. Alright. Well, I'm not out of ammo, so do I present this?
Why don't you ammo these nuts in your mouth?
Ammo these nuts.
Ammo these nuts.
Alright.
Trial ladder.
No, no, no.
You can look at your badge.
Just making sure it's here.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime.
And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner.
It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or, to be exact, a handprint.
Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that here crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds. Well, I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural for my fingerprints to be there.
I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood.
Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene?
The blood was wiped away. However, a luminal test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall?
Seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on their shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime.
All right. You see here, like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just so happened to be placed in the same one of them just happened to be the murder touched the locker and the footprint changed by chance. The blood stain and the fingerprints are completely unrelated. Or did you know the murder was wearing gloves? See, I ain't had nothing to do with it. I ain't got nothing to do with it.
The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt.
Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Something's wrong. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hmm. Huh.
Retardation.
Were they wearing gloves? Were they wearing gloves?
Pretty sure they were right.
Can I can't fast forward this.
Pretty sure it was the right road.
They were wearing gloves.
They were wearing gloves.
They were wearing gloves. I remember it
Dun,
clearly.
dun, 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 dun.
See?
Oh, it
Gloves.
looks like gloves. Yeah, okay.
No, his hands are just weird looking.
Yeah.
The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1.
On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not... Yeah, the chances of that not happening are a million to 1. Get that one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward for me with that mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Because the blood stain on the fingerprints are completely unrelated.
Unrelated?
They're just as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One thing's gotta do with breakfast, the other guy's gotta do with murder.
He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different.
I don't see what homonyms have to do with this.
Phoenix is a homophobe.
How do you know that?
I may be a loner, but I still do my job and keep up the reports. There was a blood stain on the scene, though to be left by the murderer.
That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint.
Oh yeah, I think we tried that too.
So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint.
That's the only logical conclusion.
I can't let him squirm out of this one. I've got to find something. Something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime.
Press the first one.
Like I said, buddy.
Okay.
Press the
so
first
natural.
one.
That's because you... How did you put it? Pay respects once a month?
Okay,
Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happened to be mine.
What? What do you mean?
I mean what I said. That here's my locker. That locker I used with the detective. What? That locker I used when I was the detective. The locker I still use. I can't read, sorry. And that...
Oh,
That's in there now, though. It's a heap of rubber and
I see.
Hold on. Hold on.
It'd be strange if my fingerprints weren't all over that locker.
Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint log all this time without ever knowing it.
Here we go.
Are you starting to get the picture, partner?
The picture?
The seal of blood in the desert that's... In the desert, but it's just food to buzzards. It's just food for buzzards, yeah. There's only one reality, and that's this.
The security tape.
So long my trail isn't there, you can't say it otherwise.
This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Oh, I get it. I get it now.
Press, not present. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? Yes.
Hey,
We
this
already
stream's
read this,
lagging for me.
We already read this part, didn't
Yeah, you want to tie the crown to me? That ain't your partner. Fuck. If so, then the video's the only direct evidence you have.
But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind spots?
Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright.
Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now.
we? Here you go. Here you
It's
go.
the thing. It's the thing.
Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. You might or you might wind up being one who makes the mistake.
Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness. Officer Jake Marshall.
It's the thing.
Whee!
It's so slow.
And he opens the
Aw.
locker, and we see Meek creeping up on him, and oh, he takes a step, and he takes a step, and he's down. He goes for another strike, and he's okay. Wait, is that it?
It's there,
There it is.
and there it is.
God. This took me like 2 hours to find when I first.
Oh, Jesus.
Really?
I didn't even look it up. I wanted to do it legit. It took me so long.
All right. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall.
Yeah. Days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you gotta say in 8 words or less?
Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh shit.
Did it.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner.
The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video.
What the frick?
Oh, thank God.
There we
That
go.
locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witness.
No, it's his cum rag.
Now then. Oh no.
Just come right.
He used it on the officer. Oh God.
No, he used it to masturbate the blue badger.
No.
Shut the fuck.
Now then, let's
Not
rewind the
masturbate on
video a
blue
bit.
badger. He masturbated the blue badger himself. That's why he's a band-aid, because it hurt so much.
Let's give it some time.
Get your popcorn, get your snacks. Get your snacks, friends.
Didn't Marshall say something about short tempers and... Oh, there it is! Oh, the white cloth! It's gone! What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. Poof! There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Order! Order! It would seem that's the... Ah!
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but he's got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something quick, so he opened the locker and snuck it in. It's not my fault that he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man?
Because you don't know how lockers work. This guy
Dude.
isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know.
But
I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker.
oh yeah, I could call you bluff. Come on, you say I opened that locker, now prove it. It's your
What?
fucking fingerprints, you twat.
Are we gonna present the exact same thing?
Yeah, present the evidence locker, I guess.
What? I guess.
Yeah.
Alright, we're full health anyway, and by the looks of it, we actually get regenerated every time we go into trial, so...
He's like Doctor Who.
A fingerprint sensor?
What a dumbass.
Uh-huh. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to.
What kind of crazy talk is this?
Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this.
He's only like 30. How does he not know these things?
Maybe he goes to crappy high school. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious.
Yeah, maybe.
There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks.
So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Shit!
Boomerang it on him. Oh, now he's biting. Is he biting?
Am I
What's that?
jerky? What the fuck? I only got one word for you, partner.
No! The order! Witness, explain yourself.
No.
Fuck. Oh, this is the worst joke I've heard yet.
You
I
want to hear
assure
another
you,
joke, Your Honor?
This is no joke, Officer Marshall.
You want to hear another joke, Officer Marshall? You want to hear
What do
another
you
hear
get
another joke?
when you? You
Daniel,
get what you
Daniel,
fucking
Daniel.
deserve. Yeah.
Yeah, what
Daniel,
you
Daniel,
fucking deserve.
Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Joaquin Phoenix. Yes.
All he's missing is a red suit with like a colorful tie and everything, and there's some face paint. Oh my god.
Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime.
Want to hear another joke, Your Honor?
Ole, please answer the question.
What did you say?
Eh?
Olay.
The judge is getting festive.
What is he now? A bullfighter? That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here.
We can?
Have a look at these floor plans. Look at these. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. He had an invisibility cloak.
If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer.
That's right. I'm right. The only possible conclusion.
Well then, let's hear it.
Let's do this.
Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime?
He was the killer.
What?
He was the killer. He was the killer.
Who's the
right?
killer?
He had the.
Wait. I think in this context, Meekins is supposed to be the killer. 'Cause he's the one arrested.
Oh,
So
right. VK, VK.
Oh, so it's V.
No,
yeah,
and K is
it's the
and like yeah, Meek. Is that his name?
killer.
Whatever. He was slowly approaching him from this direction, and he was on this locker. So that is Meek, and this is yeah.
Right?
What? That's the
No.
opposite of what I said. That's the
Yeah.
opposite of what he said.
The
Yeah,
killer in the context is Meek, so it's the victim.
So he's the victim. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Officer Marshall was standing right here.
There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was.
Correct.
No.
That's contradictory. He shook his head and he was like, correct.
Yeah.
No.
Correct.
Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall,
Marshall.
Want to hear
It was
another
you.
joke, Your Honor?
dressed up like Detective Goodman.
Like the bad man.
Objection, but that's preposterous. Officer Meeks witnessed the detective in the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he knew for sure.
May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
Would I enter the evidence room? Oh, that's. Would I enter the evidence room? I asked him to show his ID card, sir.
Yes?
Oh, man.
And how did Detective Goodman respond?
He's only put a rose knife on me.
Oh, that's not good.
Something
that.
about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card.
Oh, I get it.
What? That was random. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized that the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall?
You've got quite an imagination, partner. We've got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you got a hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim.
I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition.
I can't say I care about your beard, but that's the second time he said that.
You said that twice. Be original.
How
Mr.
dare
Wright?
you insult his beard?
Imagine how long
Yeah.
it took to grow this. Anyway,
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim?
well, who am I kidding? I don't have anyone like that. Anything.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems like you're the only one who couldn't take the desert heat.
Ah! This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do?
Kill him. Just kill him.
Wait. It looks like your lack of experience had finally been exposed.
Ah!
I'll pass into you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall and there's no place to go, return to the basics.
The basics?
The basics.
For me,
Back
that
to the
would be
basics.
what Mia
Go
used to tell
Starbucks.
me.
Go to Starbucks. Phoenix, try to think outside the box. Show him what he fucking deserves.
Pull out the gun! He won't have to... anyway,
Pull out the knife
pull
and
out the
stab him.
9!
Pull out the 9.
You want another joke, Your Honor?
You want another... No, I think we've had enough of your jokes. I shouldn't look for proof... I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise.
Someone needs to
But
do that
rather
one
I
day.
should look
Joaquin
for
Phoenix,
evidence that came about because he was in disguise.
Why do you think his locker was open in the first place?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
right? What does he mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at that time. Yet he did, despite the chance it might have been discovered later it had been.
Which means... Oh my god, why did I do this? Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker, according to the defense's argument. Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
Very sus. Very, very sus.
The fact that a white cloth was sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, just what exactly is the piece of cloth?
The trench coat?
Maybe. Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another security test. I fucking hate this part. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker and put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker.
I actually didn't know what it was until a little earlier.
It's the flag.
It's kind of obvious. Like when I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't remember that." Now I know why they have a part. It's weird.
Your statement about the trench coat does give me an idea.
Is that... And
Yeah, I think Dan is on the right track.
Gets blood on him! There you go!
Yeah,
Rewind a bit, rewind a bit. Rewind.
Wait. Oh, wait, that's a little too far. It's fine, it's fine.
No, it's fine. You see that? There we go. That's
This
the
thing?
blood. Yeah, if he had blood, then you people would know.
Huh?
It's the blood. That's why the trench coat needed to be hidden, because of the blood.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if he was just walking around in a bloody trench coat, then
Then
he'd
it
be
would have
very suspicious.
So he probably took it off.
Yeah. Well, when we were watching the first time, I was like, "That's a fucking lot of blood." I don't remember it being that.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Now I know why. Now I know why.
Ah, because he didn't want blood to spill on the floor. All right.
Yeah, he didn't want the floor to be dirty. God forbid.
Because he knows about our technology. Ooh, subversion. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet.
Yeah.
However,
Well, when you come
something
in,
unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However,
it's like going to the bar.
Officer
You ask for
Meekins
an ID, you
panicked.
just pull out a knife.
and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. Soiled it! A bloody white coat?
A bloody white coat?
Bloody white coat? Bro, you couldn't
A bloody
just walk
white
out
coat?
like that. So you hid the coat
Bloody white
in
coat.
your locker.
Not bad, partner.
Ooh!
Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks
No.
like I underestimated y'all. I'd hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth.
I hope
you're happy.
now. I've revealed the truth.
okay, that's not what I was going with. It's fine.
But it's still
I
makes sense.
hope
I
you're
hope you're happy.
happy.
Yeah, that's what I was
my
going for. That's what I was
friend.
going for. Going for a wicked. I hope
2
you're
years
happy
ago.
as I've revealed the truth.
If you were only half as persistent as you were there today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we?
Aw.
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it.
All right.
Alright.
It seems like the time has come. You see, I'm an engineer. And that means I solve
Practical
problems.
problems.
Not problems like what is. I had to do with that day. I just couldn't stand by and let it just die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. And I managed to escape. I knew which areas I wouldn't be caught on camera.
He's a genius.
There wasn't any murder evidence in room 515. 515.
There are no murders in the building?
No murders.
So the
There is
supposed
no
victim.
war in Ba Sing Se.
Only murders in the building, that's what I meant to say.
So
The library of Ba Sing Se?
The library of Ba Sing Se.
So the supposed victim was really you.
But there is no one thing that still I don't understand. There's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of large quantities of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? It's because they spilled the blood. I thought we established.
Yeah.
Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand.
Ah.
My guess is he's a donor.
The blood donor.
He's a blood donor.
Okay, that's a good
Yeah.
joke. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Alright.
Marshall's confession. Marshall.
Uh-huh.
Marshall Mathers.
Why?
Marshall from
When you say
But
it,
why?
you mean
Do you even have to ask, partner?
the SL9 incident.
I do it. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to be completely at the end of the transfer of that day. At a complete day. Not if I had anything to do with it. That incident is not over.
But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case leads the detectives can look through that evidence. I wanted to have a look-see and I want to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID.
You know what? Let's press each of these statements. What? What?
What?
There we go. Sorry. Okay.
Him shaving his beard.
Take out
with his
the
knife.
evidence for dinner?
He's
Why
been
did you
doing
disguise
that
yourself as
since
Detective Goodman?
Can't bring a knife to
I
court.
didn't make. Yeah. If I didn't make myself look like Goodman, I was carrying out the transfer evidence. Look at that. I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. Except jail. So you deemed fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID card?
I stole that the morning of the incident.
So that really was why Goodman started filing out the lost item report.
I returned his ID card. Left it on the floor of the prosecutor's office in the parking lot.
The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall?
So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack in foresight.
Hey, that's me in school.
Bravo, what do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activation lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open the locker by yourself.
But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off?
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being the Evans room no more than 5 minutes or so. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time.
Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I'd love to think a little more about this and raise this year.
There he is.
Little thing is about raise this year.
When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Yeah, how many controls evidence raises?
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, he threw himself at me. I ended up cutting him slightly. Slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this?
I don't know what to say.
So you knocked Officer Meekins out, and...
He's using that same knife to just cut his beard. What the fuck?
He lubes it up with Meekins' blood.
Can't.
He lubes it up.
So you did your research beforehand?
Those who go in the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would be a difference though. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tapes is erased every 6 hours. If 6 hours, if all had gone to plan, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied out your coat and struggled with Officer Meekins. If someone... If someone wasn't in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened up my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing during that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby.
So what you're saying is, on that day...
There wasn't any murder in the evidence from.
No murders.
But the blood found at the scene clearly certainly indicates a crime took place.
Are you blind? Fuck.
What are you,
The
blind?
victim showed that the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? Fuck. When I opened the locker, nothing was there. The evidence was already gone.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor.
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence.
Person who put the glove there.
Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Hit me. Fire away, partner. It's
What
freaking.
does Mike Meekins look like?
Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do
plead the
this?
fifth.
Stealing a
Plead the
detective's
fifth.
ID, injuring a police officer? This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with any simple cut in a salary.
Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution.
This is a defense mechanism. It's great.
Yeah. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get the answer I'm satisfied with.
The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
Here you go.
Ah,
Present something here.
wait, I just want to know. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Like
The
how
reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Mama was convicted for his crimes.
No.
One thing I can say for sure is that he got what he deserved, sir.
He got what he fucking
He got what he
deserved?
fucking deserved.
I remember that Joe Dark.
Wait a second. Joe Dark? Joe Chill?
Joe Chill?
Joe Chill?
Hey, I think that's an allusion to Joe Chill.
He killed Phoenix's parents.
Phoenix's parents?
Like, he killed Batman's parents.
Yeah, I know he killed him.
was Emma's family like rich?
I don't know.
I don't know, it might have been. Whatever. It involved serial murders, didn't it?
I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. But there's something that still bothers me. Something went down that trial. Something no one will ever talk about.
What happened?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is? I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files. Okay. Now let's, No! No!
Let's look at our badge.
Son of a bitch.
Look at our badge.
Okay, wait. What's in here? Closed. Perpetrator, Joe Dark, serial murder, sentence, death. Straightforward?
Yeah.
Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Frank Kirby. Ah. Have we found it? Let's check the other pages. I mean, yeah, that just adds fuel to the fire, so.
Wait, check what page is it first?
It's
Just to
two,
be
it's
sure,
two, it's
so
two.
it-
It's page
It's
two.
two? Okay, good.
Let's save. I do not want to be what's the word? Careless.
Penalized.
Penalized. Careless and yeah, consequently penalized. Okay. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this. Oh, I picked the wrong statement.
The wrong one. You're like, I don't want to be careless.
That's why I saved. It was.
Why don't we blue skidoo?
Huh? Really?
Why don't we blue skidoo?
Objection overruled. Try to think before you make a decision. Whoops, that didn't go so well. How embarrassing.
Blue skidoo, we can too.
Okay.
That's why you're the first one.
All right.
There we go. Never forget SL9.
Officer Marshall. I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much of them cactus juice, partner. That's an Avatar reference. You know that?
It is?
Yeah, I not really. But,
Oh.
Watermelon stand.
I have
Maybe.
the SL9 incident file right here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? I hope he
That's
doesn't
my
pull up on
husband.
karma.
Neil Marshall.
No, no,
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard his name. 2 years ago. Oh. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award.
Now I remember Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 incident case before I did. SL9, yes. That's right. He was killed. And that case fell into your hands.
But what's his relation to you?
He is my brother. He was an investigator murders at the Damon Gann. He investigated the murders with Damon Gann, the deputy chief officer, police chief. Oh, the group of detectives was the group of detectives I was part of that worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer.
Joe Dark.
What the fuck? Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. It was the first time Dark left any evidence. That's all we needed.
Guys?
It was a
Guys?
rain.
Is it just me or do
Cousin
those
lady.
eyes look a bit familiar?
What eyes?
What
The eyes of Joe Dark.
I don't know.
Oh,
The
no.
case is finally closed. At least according to public records.
What do you mean?
So,
My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my mother better than anyone.
brother from another mother.
No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it. That's your reason for your insane actions. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try and hide it, you can't fool me.
Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last of the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with this Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Oh.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. No. The things that can happen by chance can never cease to amaze. At the exact same time, a murder at the prosecution's office. This fake murder was going on at the police department.
Chance? It's got to be more than just that. Yes, I think all of the detectives were like had the same idea, and they're like, "Oh, it's the last day. I gotta go get my evidence." Blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Maybe.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person who could have committed. Sorry, let me do that. Which in turn means only one person could have committed that crime. Chief Prosecutor Lorna Skye.
But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Which is why we examined the incident in the police department today.
But
there is only one reason the defendant could not have been convicted yesterday. There yet to remain the mystery of the simultaneous murders that happened at the police department. It seemed to me the boys got a draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lorna Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. Contestable. If you had one response, then make it a single word or less.
Screw you. Wait, crap.
I rest my case.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving all the alleged murders at the police department. Murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Hold it. There we go. Wait,
What?
Yes!
What the fuck?
Emma!
Your Honor! Wait!
Emma!
I did it! I murdered him! The defense is an objection. A scientific objection. Right? That's you.
What do you mean, Wright?
What do you mean? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor? Oh, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
Oh, I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
Oh, he's generous. So generous.
1,
she's a
2,
little
girl.
3, 4.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings?
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky's sisters were in that file.
That's when I figured it out.
Oop.
I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day? So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So, I ran over there and looked at it again.
So did you find something?
No.
I like how she checks her notes. Let me see. Nah.
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after. Why do you testify if you have nothing
Why do you
to share?
testify?
Is that
There's
all?
no-
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney!
Ace
But,
attorney.
Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. We're supposed to be fucking professionals here. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark.
Oh.
Looking at the floor plan, the handprint was discovered around here. Is there any problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still. If you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing?
Oh.
Sorry.
Sorry now.
Sorry,
we're done
Emma.
here. You know what it is, guys. You guys know what it is?
I have to think about it. Maybe we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I'm at a blank.
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
No.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Same... Ew.
Something is missing. A roof.
Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something missing in the Yeah,
The blue badger.
it's not there.
Oh, wait. Does the blue badger have a finger as a handprint on it? What the fuck?
It does.
Wait. Is that...
Is it really the blue badger? Because I was thinking, oh, maybe it's the camera position. But then, like, that's kind of irrelevant. This thing, however,
Wait.
was in the crime scene, and it was given an unusual amount of emphasis, and we haven't found a use, like, for this thing yet.
Wait, play the tape again.
Okay.
Because, like, maybe the
You wanna
handprint
slog
wasn't
through it?
there. Yeah, let's slog through it. Because if it was there, that means... Okay, no, it's there. It's there.
But it's
Okay, so
blocking... it's blocking
it's
the
still
handprint.
there.
It's in front of Gumshoe's locker.
It is. Okay, yeah, so it's the same...
Yes, I mean, which means somebody intentionally put it there so that it would obscure the camera. So it serves two purposes. One, it makes it so that we can't see the handprint, and it makes it clear. It makes it harder to discern who the sussy Goodman was.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
so I
okay.
was right, but under complete incorrect circumstances. Nice.
Yes.
Alright, let's go.
God, I hope I'm right.
Nope, I'm right. What about that piece of plywood?
The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Hyde. Jesus
Blue Badger
Christ.
Cinematic Universe.
This is the Blue Badger event. Yeah, whatever. Right. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here.
So, the fuck?
So,
We're supposed to put that in there?
watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well,
Open Gangnam Style, pal.
what?
Oh, shit.
That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot in the locker. That's not what I
Oh,
thought.
shit.
That's not what I
After
thought.
watching it like a billion
Oh.
times, Badger is finally relevant.
Woo!
Oh, that's,
Finally,
yeah.
Badger.
Well. That was terrible, so.
So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma,
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
so that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in? Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. Trivial. The problem is, the other time,
Oh,
give it a moment. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Really murdered? Wait, what the what do you mean, really murdered? I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
So then, assuming this murder, you... what the fuck? Purport? Oh,
Porta
so
potty.
assuming this murder you report really happened, then when did it take place? I demand you show the evidence that proves it was occurred. Prove when it occurred.
When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blue... What? Where the fuck did blue come from? Maybe I saw the color blue and...
The blood.
yeah. The blood marks.
The blood
the
mark.
Blood Badger.
The
The
blood
blue
mark.
marks of the Blood Badger.
Yeah, probably. The blood mark on the locker proves this.
Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place?
I think we all know what it is.
Yeah, the badge.
Yeah, the badge.
Yeah.
Aha. We still haven't figured out who this is. They could have either been smoking a blunt because it was 420 and they have a very or
Yes.
Innocent druggie.
yeah,
He's an innocent druggie.
innocent druggie who somehow found his way into like a private room. Okay.
Stay high, man.
If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, oh god, I think my head. Okay. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh, the ID card record!
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at...
Let's see here. 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Ah! Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done?
Aww.
I never would have figured out that nerve, boy. You have the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure it out. You couldn't have been me. Nope. I ain't getting it.
I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminol blood test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
I would have just 10 minutes to the murder victim. What? I would have just had 10 minutes to murder
I would
the
have
victim.
had just 10 minutes.
What the fuck? I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim and carry the body away. And then clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that is physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's look at that chart again.
Who the fuck
There's only
was
one
seven?
other card number remaining. 777.
Are there 7 sevens? Yeah.
The
Talk
judge
about
just
a
doesn't
lucky
remember the
number.
number still. He just doesn't remember the number still.
Was it
Yeah.
Judge.
eight?
Talk about a lucky number. Yeah.
But wait! That doesn't make sense! How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer.
Your
That's the
mother!
only possible explanation. He went in with 7777. Mr. Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7777777.
Actually says 7. There's only one 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately. I'm unable to look up that owner of the card. At least, present.
What?
Explain yourself, sonny boy.
Explain.
The ID number 777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who's so-called executive officer.
It was Gant! I'm telling you, it's fucking Gant!
It's fucking good.
Whatever, we'll get to that tomorrow.
It's fucking good. We don't have the... Oh, sorry. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
But that's ridiculous! Just how...
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. Jesus. Fuck.
Savage.
There's only one situation in which we can be... There is only one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
If an official charge filed against an
what the fuck?
It's late at night.
An executive.
Yes. Not executive, executive.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted,
An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you?
I'm beginning to forget that this guy exists because none of his lines so far have really contributed to the discussion. It's like,
I like him. He's just an asshole. I love him. With all your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's all how Barbie operates. I need to take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question then. Yes? No, not you. To her and the defendant sitting over there. Yeah, your own little executive.
Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 7777. Now don't play me a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
The SL9 incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? To be continued. Oh,
No, not yet.
Damn
Almost.
it. Do you need a witness to repeat this question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. A time we...
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Lana!
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying?
We live in a society, sir. I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't...
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why would you answer him? The fuck?
Drastic crimes required drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
But Lana!
But Lana!
Even if it involved forging evidence.
Aha!
Aha! No, no, no! It is me! It was Von Karma all along! It was Von
See?
Karma all along!
That's what I'm talking about. No. No!
Edgeworth.
Order! 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 Order!
The jury's like, what the hell's going on? Why is there
Why
why
is there
the
a
jury?
Such a stir.
The jury doesn't even do anything. What's
It
the
could
jury?
not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day.
The next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
See you guys next time. But before we
Next
go,
time.
answer in the comments. Why is there a jury? They don't do anything.
Why is there a jury? Yeah,
They
what?
exist to piss the judge off. They don't do anything.
The juries are supposed to do shit. What the fuck?
Alright, answer and
Anyway.
put in the